Hi, my name is Laura. I'm 46 years old. I was first diagnosed with systemic mastocytosis in the spring of 2002. I was 24 years old. It was a pretty quick diagnosis from start to finish. I probably had symptoms prior without realizing what they were related to. My first sign was cutaneous lesions, and my dermatologist biopsied it and diagnosed it and sent me to a specialist at NYU. And from that point, I saw many doctors through the years. At that point, I started seeing a doctor at NYU. He was one of the most local doctors who had any experience or understanding with mastocytosis. From that point, I saw him annually. I didn't really get much traction with treatment or better understanding of the illness. I discontinued seeing him after I think 3 years, and then I started seeing doctors more in isolation related to symptoms, allergist, and I continued to see my dermatologist and my primary doctor, and my GI doctor, and nobody really had a good understanding of systemic mastocytosis. The process to get diagnosed is fairly quick, but the journey itself has been ongoing. First symptoms I really noticed were the lesions on my skin in areas that didn't have any prior, and they probably started around that time, 23, 24, 25 years old. Other symptoms probably had, but didn't realize it at the time, and it's more of a progressive illness. So if I did have them and recognize them, they're probably very minor in comparison to later years. Some symptoms that I've had as time progressed was significant GI issues, bone pain, increased skin lesions, daily new ones, brain fog, heart palpitations, flushing, a lot of discomfort with my skin, hives, also heat, temperature, very sensitive to. My body temperatures themselves, one side could be hot and I could touch the other side and it would be cold to the touch, but I felt hot in myself. So a lot of skin related symptoms, GI mostly, the bone, and some brain fog, definitely. So those are the symptoms that have happened. And then I had bone fractures for the first time last year. Different treatments that I've tried really were all driven by doctors. It was basically take a Zyrtec, take an Allegra, take a Prilosec. A few doctors had some outrageous suggestions to do, UV light treatment, 4 to 5 times a week, put a certain lotion on my skin and sleep in a suit that was kind of like an astronaut suit. And they claimed that this would cure the lesions and the skin symptoms that went along with it. I didn't try the over-the-counter stuff and things I did, but they were inconsistent with feeling better. So those are mostly the medications I had taken at the time up until the clinical trial, which I started last year after my fractures. My doctor, who is in Boston, highly recommended I start the trial. He said that breaking bones was a game changer, so he thought it would be really helpful and would really improve my quality of life. And it has. So I started the trial May of 2022. I was on placebo unknowingly until April of this year, 2023. And I've now just finished my second month on dose on drug. And I'm seeing significant improvements already from my lesions lightening and also disappearing. My brain fog is improved. My GI issues are significantly improved. My bone pain is significantly reduced. My heart palpitations have improved. My temperature has greatly improved. I'm actually putting on like a sweater sometimes, when everybody else is hot. So I feel like my body's balancing itself out temperature-wise. I'm not as affected by the heat as much. I'm noticing with the change of weather going into, later spring. So it's definitely improved my quality of life, and I am very grateful to be on drug at this point, and it's been a journey to get here. So mastocytosis has definitely impacted my life in ways that I kind of just wrote off for other reasons, working a lot or being a mom and having little kids. But when looking back, when I put things in collectively and really pulled it all together, I realized it was all based from my mastocytosis. And it was just the force behind, my other day-to-day symptoms. And I would definitely be more conscious of certain activities I participate in or feel more comfortable in, depending on, wearing a bathing suit, to certain clothes with certain weather, very uncomfortable exposing my skin. Triggers have been definitely more conscious as I've gone through the years. Definitely stress is a big trigger, environment is a big trigger, and foods. But the tricky thing with mastocytosis is, many people know who have it, your triggers are not always the same. So something can bother you one day and not another day, and you never really know. So, it's kind of like my big joke. I'm allergic to myself, but I never know it's my trigger. I would say to people having mastocytosis, there is new information. There are trials, there are things happening that are helping us understand it more and make progress. So stay hopeful. It will get better. Just be mindful of yourself and your triggers and what you need, and how mastocytosis affects your life, and just take care of yourself, really. Have your medication with you, have your plan with you. Be prepared with doctors. They're not always as informed as you think they might be. And if you can find a specialist who knows more about mastocytosis relatively close to you, because they're hard to find, I highly recommend that as well.